Greetings and welcome to episode 154 of the Words About Gamescast, the weekly video game podcast for Words About Games. I'm your host, Amy Alexander. I'm joined this week by Keith Robertson.
Yep.
Did you like how I did that? I moved both my hands so I could figure out which side of the screen I needed to point at.
I have no idea. I can do this.
That's
Be
correct.
completely wrong. That was correct.
That was correct. Hello.
Yay!
No, hello. Give it again. Hi.
Yeah, we
froze-
totally haven't
you froze- you froze for a minute like that.
54 episodes?
Wait, high five. It would be weird. It would be cool if my hand just came out and it was just touching your head, just patting you on the head. Thank you. Well, that was a weird way to start a podcast. Glad I'm recording this.
How did we end up?
How are you doing? Cheers. Cheers.
Yeah, just starting a holiday. So.
Oh, very nice. What's the special occasion?
I believe it's one of two things has happened. Either I've realised that the schools are going to be off this week and decided it would be a good thing to have a holiday, or B, which is far more likely, is I've looked at the holidays I had planned out throughout the year and then just went, I'll take one. Yeah, equidistant between multiple holidays.
Well, as somebody who, obviously has very set periods of time, it's like, yeah, I can feel that. Like,
I take my birthday off, the week of my birthday off, and I'm always taking E3 off because I know I'll be doing something there.
Here's the
And
thing.
then the rest of the year, it's kind of like...
Here's the thing. Like, if I can't take my birthday off, because my birthday is like literally days before E3. So it's like I make a choice between having like birthday time or E3. And obviously E3 wins because, hi, 154 podcast episodes, 100 plus reviews, hundreds of other videos about the things. Besides, it's just a birthday, who cares?
Almost 3 years.
Almost what?
154 episodes. Almost 3 years.
It's longer than 3 years because we didn't do this weekly when we started. This is the thing I keep saying because I do my Xbox and we will fixer, and his episode count is higher than ours, but we've been doing it longer than him, and it always breaks his brain a little bit when I'm like, we've been podcasting since we were one of the first podcasts we did, with Kirsty, Patrick, me, you, and Russell. In fact, no, it wasn't Patrick. It was me, you, Tom, Kirsty, and Russell. And we were talking about the rumours that Guerrilla Games were making a robot dinosaur open world game. Like, because I remember, I for some reason, that conversation sticks in my head. But it's always funny to be like, we've been around longer than, like, when we incepted this podcast, we didn't know what Horizon Zero Dawn was.
Indeed.
Project Horizon, it was called. Anyway, let's tell people what the Words About Gamescast is all about. We discuss 5 topics centered around what's been going on in gaming, the games industry, and gaming culture over the past 7 days before we leave you with a list of games coming out this week. This week, we talk about how impactful video games can be, following a great article on Polygon, Jason Schreier's latest piece of journalism regarding the state of Dragon Age 4, the incredibly creepy ways Activision Blizzard are keeping tabs on their employees, the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order reveal, and some DLC/updates to a couple of games that come across as a bit of a piss take. As always, below the video on YouTube in the description there are timestamps for all of the different things that we talk about. So if you want to just click around the video, just find the things that you're most interested in, go for it. That's why we're there.
That's entirely up to you.
If you want to watch the podcast in reverse order, I might actually do that one day. Because
I don't get this joke. Oh wait, it's calling back to this.
Yeah, because we do that, don't we? We kind of layer it in as we go down. Like sometimes in across hundreds of podcast episodes, there was an entire year where I was sick of it's the something of Dark Souls and made that joke as often as possible.
Yeah. There is the Let Us Throw Our Heads Back and Laugh, which is the other new one.
That's the new one.
And there's like the first year, maybe the first 2 years, when it was just, if something with Konami came on, it was Konami Watch, and I hummed The Girl from Ipanema.
Yeah, we did Konami Watch. We've not had a chance to do that in so long because Konami don't do anything anymore.
Not since Metal Gear Survive.
No, Metal Gear Survive. I just need a minute. Fucking hell. That was something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Keith, I thought I'd start us off. There was an obvious place to start, and it was Dragon Age. And then I was like, I read this article yesterday over on Polygon, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to start off with something cool and something positive and something a bit different this week. And essentially it boils down to there's one bullet point after the bit that I'm about to read, which just says how great are video games. And we're going to talk about that. But I wanted to read some bits from this. So I wrote the thing, sometimes we forget the amazing things games can do, which was inspired by a piece by Margaret Evans over at Polygon, titled, A Video Game Showed Me Who I Really Am. And I thought it was really cool. I'm going to read some of it now. It's my podcast, no one can stop me. One appeal of video games is that they offer an opportunity to experiment with new ideas without fear of consequences. No matter how many times my virtual avatars have been shot, I have yet to have the same happen to me. Which is good. Video games also provide a place where deeper questions about identity can be explored, while players are protected by the knowledge that they can stop at any time, and no one need know what they are doing. I had just, and this is not me, this is me reading Margaret's piece, when I say I had just such an experience with the game Acceptance. Acceptance is a slice-of-life game by transgender video game journalist and author Laura Kate Dale. The player makes a series of choices about how they want to live their day. Which bathroom do they use? How do they get home? Each choice shows the player how dangerous it can be to live as a trans person. The most important choice, however, is the one decision that Acceptance takes away from the player. Acceptance asks the player to pick a gender when they begin. Unlike most games, which use this choice as the basis for the player character, Acceptance uses your decision to make a point. I told the game I was a man the first time I played Acceptance. I am sorry, but you're a woman, the game replied. I'm having Twitter flashbacks. You're a woman, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure you learn that fact. Not only did the game itself frequently insist that I was wrong about my gender, the message was reinforced by characters I met throughout the story. This happened to me regardless of the choices I made over multiple playthroughs. I imagine this was intended to knock me down, to make me feel like I wasn't valid, to give me a sense of what I would be like when no one in my life respected the person I told them I was. But it had the opposite effect on me. If anything, I felt relieved. And then there's a bunch more. I put ... It was like, there's a big part of the article, which is quite personal. You should go read it. It's really good over on polygon.com. But I want to skip to the last couple of paragraphs. Acceptance may have been made with the intention of showing cisgender people what it is like to live as a trans person. The game is well suited to impart empathy through gameplay. For me, though, it was a tool to explore my own identity at a time when my concept of self was very much in flux. It did so by giving me the opportunity to make the sorts of decisions that I would have never come across at that point in my life, safe in the knowledge that I can make it stop at any time. That's what video games can offer. Not just the chance to face imaginary bullets, but the opportunity to make statements about who we are, even if only to ourselves. What I shared with other people was my business, and the game's true value was in what it helped me see in myself. Keith, how great are video games?
Great, I believe it's the statement we want to go with here.
I mean, you do you.
That's something that games can do well. You do you. I mean, if you want to play a game which is really laid back and relaxing that you can listen to a podcast to in the background, you can do that. Or you can play a game which will make you break your controller in half, even if it's made of titanium, as you try and dodge and roll around with a ninja. Just to take a current example at the moment.
I mean, those are both current examples. What I find funny is that, to tangent off of the first part of the thing you said, where it's like, sit back, listen to a podcast, play a game, how wildly different the games that we play for that purpose are. You play Civilization 6. I play The Division 2. Apparently I relax by, like, shooting everybody in the face in Washington, D.C. Like, I wanted to start with something like this when I read it, and I was like, I'm going to put this in. And then I put it at the end because it was like it was going to be the nice bit that we ended on. Instead, I moved it all the way up to the top because, like, sometimes I feel like we might have just been me ranted about this last week, where it was like, we just want to talk about video games, not all of this nonsense. Gestures wildly to the past few years. That was my mirror. The thing is, sometimes I feel like we don't see the forest for the trees.
Yes.
In terms of like video games, like, because video games are really cool and really awesome, and like sometimes you get stuck in the how awful everything around it is that you forget about that bit in the middle, right? the discourse, as I believe it's referred to. I'm gonna pick this up. You talk. I don't know if you can pick up where you left off. You just raised your finger and were saying something.
I was just claiming about how, like, for a part last week, I kind of zoned out because I was like, the pedant part of my brain went, that saying's backwards. And I was like, don't interrupt. No,
oh shit, actually I paused that. I should restart it. The stopwatch. No, it's really cool. Like, games are awesome. Like, a game can do stuff like that. Film, like movies, books. Like, they don't offer that sort of space to explore in a way that video games can, because video games are interactive. I had a very similar experience as this author of this piece, not with acceptance, with a much weirder game called South Park: The Fractured But Whole. It didn't get me all the way there, but the joke, because essentially it's a joke in the game.
Yeah.
With the way you can pick the different gender options by having those awkward conversations with the counsellor. I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
Drugs are bad, okay, that guy. And he goes through
you were...
Yeah, and he goes through all the different options, like cisgender, transgender, male, female, non-binary, all that kind of stuff. And then the rednecks turn up and they just mock you no matter what you do. You pick. And obviously I was like, fuck, I'm not... Like, no one's watching. I'll just pick these things for a laugh. Yes, I was that dense back in the day. But no, it was like quite weird, like, because I had really complicated feelings and reactions to what I was picking. And it's very slight in terms of changes on the gameplay, although if you do choose, because you're playing the same character as you did in the first one. He was a boy. And then if you choose to be a girl in the Fractured But Whole, it doesn't really like make too many changes. There's only a couple of but they're really cool like scenes. Like there's a few like funny lines from the boys that you play with, like Butter and Cartman and all that stuff. But like there's only a couple of scenes where it actually changes anything. But at the same time, those scenes were like, that was really awesome. Like Wendy will be like, I know you're a girl. Like why do you pretend to be a boy? Even though I changed my entire character's look and I clearly was not pretending to be a boy anymore. Ironic. But I don't know, games are fun like that. Like, I really think games are great. I mean, I started a whole podcast based on them, right?
Yeah.
Games must be good for something.
It may have tended into some sort of venting where we try and expel the darkness from ourselves onto the internet.
We purge. Once a week we sit down and we purge the darkness. Well, this time...
I like the fact that we're both wearing black hoodies, like, and we are talking about Star Wars this week as well. So I just feel like, as we're talking about the darkness, that there is a theme there.
There is. It's true.
In Act 4, 60s.
I'm even wearing, like, what you would class as the dark side PlayStation.
I'm not wearing an Xbox hoodie internet. We're not, like, doing a thing there.
We should.
It is the Xbox colours, but...
Can we pretend? We'll just, like, get some lightsabers out. You get a green lightsaber, I get a blue lightsaber.
Nice.
Yeah.
Does that make Nintendo yellow? Because there's no way that the Sith.
Well, I don't know, like, Nintendo's red, right?
Yeah. They just turned up and were like, serious? And then they can't kick our ass.
Yeah. And then they do the Yoda, so Switch, like, Nintendo turns up. And then you're like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, because we're PlayStation and Xbox. Like, you fucking kidding me with this shit? And, like, they're whistling the Wii music theme. And then, like, you're just like, whatever. And then and then the Nintendo Switch just throws off its cloak and just goes, and then it's like, and you're like, oh,
I'm trying to do the click thing, it just does the click, and then it's like,
and then, like, 2 minutes later, we're both, like, lying on our asses, like, what was that? What happened? And then he picks the can up, hobbles away.
I need to go back and watch those old videos where it was the fan made lighting.
Oh,
and
man.
then just ends where you see them in the park going force lightning. But beforehand, they're doing the flips and the lightning.
Oh, man.
That was a diatribe. We haven't even got there yet.
No, we're not even talking about Star Wars yet.
Do you want to do it next and then come back to the second one? Use this in a segue.
Yeah, sure. Let's segue. Let me just scroll down. Keith, it's basically Star Wars weekend. So you know what that means.
Yeah.
We got a Star Wars Episode 9 trailer. But you know what else that means? We got a much cooler, much more hype-inducing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order trailer, which is going to be a mouthful to say for the next year. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I wrote a fact sheet down. Do you want me to go through the fact sheet? Did you watch the trailer? Please go, Tom.
I have seen the trailer, yes.
Thank fuck. Sometimes when we do this, I feel like, then it's like, oh, I didn't watch it. I was like, but yeah, okay, cool.
You put a link in the notes just for the people.
Yeah, I did. I put a link in the notes. It was like, hey, Keith.
Yeah.
Hey, Keith.
Because to be honest, I hadn't seen it.
I watched the live stream. Like, the live stream, like, for someone who watches all the E3s, the Gamescoms, the TGSs, the Game Awards, everything, like, and they're like really slick and really fast paced and like get in, say the thing, show the thing, get out. This was like 40 minutes of people sitting on a couch chatting, and I was like, I'm so glad I wasn't live streaming this because I would just be sat there like, where's the trailer, guys? I'm here for the trailer. Yeah, like, it was probably fine for the Star Wars Celebration crowd, but as somebody who's like video game critic / podcaster, it's like, that was... But it was cool. Everybody was clearly really excited to be there.
Yeah.
And there was like loads of like, oh my god, I'm standing on stage at Star Wars Celebration. Like, look at all you people out there. And I was like, oh, that is quite nice. Here's the fact sheet. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Launching November 15th, 2019 on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Single player game with no multiplayer elements, no microtransactions, no loot boxes.
Can we just stop there for a second and weep in joy?
That's a bad, right? I don't know whether it's a statement on the games industry as a whole or just EA, but that's bad. When it's like, they come out and they have to say all this stuff and everybody's like, yes! Like, wow. That's bad, isn't it? Oh dear. That's where we've gotten to. Anyway. Developed on the Unreal Engine, as opposed to Frostbite. That's another one where it's like, yes!
I mean, to be fair, when they say that, it's more for the like people developing it than it is for the players.
I mean, you played... No, you didn't. I was going to say, you played Anthem, didn't you? No. You played Mass Effect and... Right? No. Was Dragon Age Inquisition really buggy? It's hard to remember.
There were... I don't remember any major bugs, and I did play that from launch.
Okay.
That could just be my brain, though.
I mean, it was 4.5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Anyway. Takes place shortly after Star Wars Episode 3. You play as a Jedi Padawan who survived Order 66 and is hiding from the Empire's Inquisitors who hunt down and kill surviving Jedi. We'll visit lots of new planets in the Star Wars universe. There were no major game deals. They focused on a story because it was the Star Wars Celebration, not a video game conference. So they were like, we brought a trailer. It's a story trailer. And I was like, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Because you're not at a place where you could do a 10-minute gameplay demo and generate hype. Or as much hype. So I imagine we'll probably get some gameplay at E3. This is a quote from the press release. Players will use their Jedi training to create different melee combinations with an innovative lightsaber-style combat system and Force abilities. And I said the trailer is badass. Did you notice there was wall running in the trailer?
I did, and I noticed that you put this on the screen, and as soon as I saw Respawn's name flick up in the first couple of seconds, I was like, well, it didn't turn up in Apex, but it turned up here.
I mean, that's what I thought as well. I saw him do the wall running thing in the trailer where he ran across and the stormtroopers were shooting, and I was like, because it's rendered in engine story trailer, so it's none of it is gameplay. But at the same time, I was like, these guys made Titanfall. That's going to be in a game. Jedi wall runner makes perfect sense.
It does, because they have the force jump thing, which they show a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't make a massive leap to wall running.
Does not. It's what do you think? What do you think?
The trailer looks interesting. I mean, I haven't been the first rebooted, like, what we call it, Star Wars Episode 7.
The Force Awakens.
I wasn't as enamored with the second one. Not for the reasons that like flooded the internet afterwards.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I'm ambivalent towards The Last Jedi. But I'm not one of those people. Like, I just couldn't get into the premise.
There were some story issues that I had with it. Yeah.
That was my whole thing. It was like, this is stupid. And then my this is stupid thing was compounded when they went off to the casino planet and did that whole thing. And I was like, this is also stupid. I mean, there was some great stuff in it.
Yeah, there was some great stuff in it.
Rey and Luke.
What's that? Like, the bit with Luke where he just walks out and it's the Force Ghost.
And that whole ending thing was, like,
the fact it was the Force Ghost I loved. I didn't like the fact he died for it afterwards.
Yeah, it was like, if he was going to die, why not just have him be there? Like,
yeah.
It just seemed like a twist for the sake of a twist. But we're talking about we veered. We're not a movie podcast. We didn't think it sucked, and we're certainly
what I was trying to get at was I'm more into having the film, or I'm trying to figure out that anyway.
Sorry, you kind of froze for a second there, and I came back into the film. You're kind of. If I had to guess what you just said.
Yeah.
You're more into the idea of having a game
than the film.
Than the film. Yes. I figured.
I'm weighing that up at the moment because the film will obviously look awesome and I'll just have to go and watch it once, whereas the game's going to be a substantial amount of time to put into it. But we have before mentioned it's like, why can't we get a proper sort of Star Wars game? An RPG game set in the universe, and we have posited this exact thing is one of the things that could be done. Not Old Republic, but set after Order 66, you're like a Jedi on the run. On this one, you're a Padawan on the run, which explains why you're learning your abilities.
Mm-hmm. And you're not using your abilities for all because you're hiding, because the Empire's trying to kill you basically. Yeah. The Inquisitor, I think she's called the second sister that you see briefly. She looks scary, man. She didn't use the Force. I saw on Twitter they were talking about it. That bit at the end where she jumps on the ship.
Yeah.
And
she's breaking the glass.
She's actually using the Force to turn the. That's why they're crashing, because she's using the Force. You can see her hand doing that. She's turning the spaceship steering wheel. I was like, fuck, that's awesome. I just think of Respawn Entertainment plus a single player story driven Star Wars game with badass third person action combat with lightsabers and Force abilities, and I'm like, fuck, this might be my new favorite Star Wars game. I mean, the only thing we've seen apart from the trailer was was it last year where we saw them doing the mocap and it was fucking mental, and it was two
Yeah.
dudes with sticks and all the things on them, and they were just
Yeah.
like fucking ninja warrioring all over the place.
Yeah.
It's like that's what they did for the mocap for this game. I mean, fuck,
Yeah.
animation's gonna be off the fucking wall.
Yeah, it's like it starts alright, but by the end of the game, when you're like, yeah, you've got a high level and stuff, it's basically just a sped up version of the Darth Maul fight from the end of episode. You start off like at the beginning, like like in the first Star Wars film, where it's just kind of like
Oh yeah, where they just like
slow mo.
yeah.
Yeah, and then it ends with like the Darth Maul fight. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Or the episode.
Suddenly, if the Titanfall pilot like drops in, kicks one of them off the screen, and shoots them.
Just Titan picks it, like a droid picks Carl up and just goes, "Trust me," and then throws him. It is Titanfall 3. I mean, but no man, it's like it's so good. And talking to someone, because I haven't spoken to anyone about this, like since I saw it yesterday, because it was yesterday when the trailer came out, and like I haven't spoken to any, like I have few nerdy Star Wars friends, and I didn't see any of them. So like now I've spoken to someone about it, and we're talking and we're backwards and forwards. It's like getting more and more excited. It's like, what about this? What about this? This is cool. Star Wars is cool. And I think like the thing you said about like more anticipating the game than the film, like I feel the same for many different reasons. But the main one is it kind of ties back to what we started the podcast with. Like, video games are awesome when they let you do things and experience things in a way that you can't in any other medium. I love Star Wars movies, but Star Wars games where I get to be a Jedi and experience an awesome story, but also get to use my Jedi training to create different melee combinations with an innovative lightsaber combat system and force abilities. Can't do that watching episode 9. I can just kind of sit there and be like, this is cool. Games. Do you know what's less cool? Dragon Age 4, by the sounds of it. Are we going to do that? Wait, let's do this.
Yeah.
So, Jason Schreier did another one, basically. So last week we talked about Anthem. That was a massively long article that I spent 2 nights cutting up into various sections and like putting bullet points in.
Watching me read.
Yeah, I spent a night watching you read it, but yeah, I put it all into the sections and I did the thing and I did this, that, the other. And this time, I didn't have the time. Because basically, I don't think it's as long as the Anthem one, but basically he did a Dragon Age 4. Because it makes sense, right? He was talking to a bunch of people about Anthem. It makes sense that he would learn a lot about Dragon Age 4 in the process. So, I did what I never normally do, which was I went and found somebody else's website, like another website, who had summarized what he'd written. And I've borrowed that instead. So, the article is called The Past and Present of Dragon Age 4. You should go and read the full article. It is fantastic, again. This is a summary of the original article by Colin Stevens over at IGN. Who writes, Kotaku reports that the current version of Dragon Age 4 began development under the codename Morrison, while the cancelled project was known by the codename Joplin. Morrison is reportedly being made on Anthem's tools and codebase and is planned to have a live service component designed to sustain long-term gameplay and revenue. The current project is reportedly being made in BioWare's primary admin and offices. Some BioWare developers allegedly said it's possible a Dragon Age game built on Anthem's codebase could have an offline structure. However, it appears the game will likely be online only, but could largely still be experienced by a single player. One individual close to the Morrison project says its main story will be designed as a single-player experience, and multiplayer elements would easily keep players engaged for post-launch content. Interestingly, the prior Dragon Age project, Joplin, didn't seem to have these multiplayer components and was allegedly on the right track prior to the team being pulled into Anthem's reportedly troubled development. Joplin reportedly began early development in 2015 after Inquisition's Trespasser expansion was finished. With part of Inquisition's team working on Joplin, others moved on to Mass Effect Andromeda. Joplin reportedly had players controlling a group of spies in the Tevinter Imperium, the oldest remaining human nation in Thedas that is ruled by wizards. Choice and consequences were reportedly a major focus, and there was allegedly an emphasis on repeat play, with areas changing over time and missions branching based on players' decisions. Much of the game would allegedly centre on heists, and the development team was interested in having players be able to persuade or extort guards using systemic narrative mechanics. The Joplin team reportedly included executive producer of the Dragon Age franchise Mark Darrah and creative director Mike Laidlaw. The team was allegedly working with a set of established tools, had a feasible scope for the game in mind, and had several ideas that excited the entire team. Leaders were also committed to avoiding mistakes made during Inquisition's development, and then later Mass Effect, and then later Anthem, I guess. A former BioWare developer that worked on Joplin allegedly called the project among some of the best work experiences they'd had, saying the team was working towards something very cool that was hugely reactive and smaller in scope to Inquisition, but bigger in player choice and depth. Unfortunately, Joplin was allegedly put on hold in 2016 when BioWare moved the team to Andromeda's reportedly troubled development during its last few months. Joplin was later purportedly cancelled in October 2017, with most of its staff moving on to Anthem's similarly troubled development. Though the newer Morrison project seemed to largely start from scratch, some involved with the project claims Joplin's vision will at least partially shape it. After the reboot, Laidlaw and other veteran Dragon Age staff left, with Inquisition art director Matt Goldman taking over as creative director. You actually got in the first bullet point in this. Before I'd even put a bullet point on it, you were straight in there. I'm not sure it's a discussion point. Do you want to read it?
No!
So the bit that stood out to me first was the live service component bit. Now, I if you watched our Anthem discussion, I don't blame you if you didn't watch the whole thing. It was like 50 minutes long. We did the post-mortem treatment on Anthem. There was a moment in the third part where we were talking about Dragon Age, and I said, this last bullet point, let's save it until Jason does his Dragon Age thing. Because that last bullet point was, they're making this game on the Anthem engine, like the stuff they made for Anthem. Not the stuff they made for Dragon Age, but the stuff they made for Anthem. And Anthem was specifically started from scratch because it was an online multiplayer game. So as Keith seemingly correctly surmised, does that mean that Dragon Age Inquisition was going to be an online game? And then, reportedly, live service components.
Yeah.
How do you feel, Keith?
I don't want to play a Dragon Age game for multiplayer. When they reminded me that multiplayer was actually in Dragon Age Inquisition, I was like, wait, what?
I know, right?
Then I remembered, you could battle other people as the Inquisitor.
You could. I played it once. Because when it was at EGX, it was the only thing you could play. Like, there was no demo for the single player. It was just the multiplayer demo. So when I played it, it's like it was a 4-player cooperative dungeon dive, essentially.
Right.
And my God, I played it once and I never wanted to play it again. I'm sure it was fine for people who enjoyed that kind of thing. And to be fair, when I played it, I did meet someone who is still to this day, a friend of mine. But no, I never played it again because I was just once was enough. I'll just play the single player, and it sucked.
Yeah.
Not the single player, the multiplayer. The single player was cool.
Yeah, I mean, because people saying it's suggesting that the multiplayer could be more than that, and stuff like you can drop in and you can control the companions of other people's games.
No thanks.
Or that, and this was the one that really seemed sucked for me. The idea that people's choices in their individual games would affect the general game world. The more people who chose one option over another would have some sort of greater effect. The very idea of the Dragon Age Origins was that your choices had meaning. Like it would branch out, and you could have multiple game like playthroughs of it because you could choose different things. You could leave Sten in the you could leave Sten like jailed up for the dog spawn to arrive and kill him if you wanted. Or you could set them free to work for you.
Sten was cool. Unpopular opinion, I think Sten was one of the best characters in Dragon Age Origins.
But no, I don't. I've seen people like discussing ideas about what the live service could like. This could mean that this multiplayer could be in Dragon Age, and none of the things that I'm hearing sound good. I mean, it could be a really good game, but it doesn't sound like they're going to try and turn it into an Anthem style game, which would be really bad.
I'm trying to think of how that would. Oh man,
even work. Yeah. I have had like mentioned before that it could be worried to try and do sort of an MMO style Dragon Age. Again,
Inquisition was kind of MMO-ish in some of the ways that it worked.
Yes. And taking it a step beyond that, because the seem to be talking about making it more live service than Inquisition, would be a bad move, I think. Oh yes, you can group up with these other three people.
Drop in, drop
out. All doing the same thing for their own like individual game.
Yeah.
No.
There was a game that had that very recently. Ashen. Phenomenal game. Absolutely loved the shit out of that game. Do you know what I did with the multiplayer component? I turned it off 10 minutes after the first time I realised it was happening. Because in Ashen, you have an AI companion.
Yeah.
And that AI companion, like, at any moment, somebody could be in your game, playing as your AI companion.
Yeah.
And when I was fighting a boss, and I realised that my AI companion was not there, I was like, shit, and then I died, obviously. And then when I respawned and I was running back to the cave to fight the boss, it was the first boss. And I ran up to it's a T-junction, you turn right, and you go to the boss. You turn left, and you do a bunch of stuff to unlock the path to the right. And when I got to the T-junction, and I went right to fight the boss, and my AI companion went left, and I never saw them again, I was like, okay, I see what's happening here. Menu, offline mode. If that was in Dragon Age, I just wouldn't even experiment with it. I'd be like, nope, offline mode. Straight away. And if there isn't an offline mode, I don't know how far I get through that game. Because people suck. It's like when Bethesda wanted Fallout 76 for the players to be the NPCs.
Yeah.
And as we pointed out, months and months before it came out, it was like, by and large, like, in the majority, people suck. So this isn't going to work the way you want it to work. What was the other one?
How they got Eve to manage it, but
what was the other one you were talking about? You said there was two. There was that one with the drop-in, drop-out co-op, which could work between friends, but not in a general sense at all. The other one was the changing world state. You're absolutely right. Like, I'll tell you what, in a game like Halo, that would, like, and like, there was like a persistent warfare thing.
Yeah.
Where it was being affected by all of the multiplayer matches and battles and stuff.
Yeah.
That could be so cool. In a game like Dragon Age, which is an RPG, where you're supposed to be the person affecting the change in the world, that could potentially be great, but will probably fucking suck, especially if you're making all of the decisions differently from everybody else. Like, I've had that where I've played an episode of The Walking Dead, and at the end of it, it's gone, and it tells you how, like, what percentage you're in. And I've gone down and I've been like, damn, I was in, like, there was a decision I made in one of the Walking Dead episodes where I think I was in, like, 2%. Of, like, everybody who'd played the episode. It was me and 2% of the players had made this one decision. And I was like, if that was incorporated in that way in Dragon Age 4, like, I mean, I might never actually be able to affect any change on the game whatsoever.
Yeah.
At which point I'm just experiencing a story being like, or a world being like shaped and dictated by people I don't know and have never met.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I want to play an epic fantasy RPG.
Yeah. You can feel railroaded into like plot lines and stuff for characters you didn't like. Or like really bad things are happening to like certain like characters or like areas. And you're like, why is everyone like like not helping these elves?
Yeah.
Because like the player base has decided that the dwarves are a cool bunch of people.
Yeah. And it's like I'm doing the elf. I'm doing all the quests for the elves and I'm really digging the elf storyline. And then I come back like the next day and like, oh, the camp's been destroyed because people sided with the dwarfs. And I'm like, well, fuck, like, I was enjoying that.
Yeah.
Like, that would be poor. And then, like, Anthem-style Dragon Age is just like, I'm not even going to go there.
No, I can't believe that they would go into that. I mean, this is all semantic because
yeah, speculation.
there's no way that they're going to try and push out Dragon Age for next year. I'm not going to be sitting in March and they're going to be like, right, it's coming out like on March the 3rd or something.
No, but you know what they would say? Coming, holiday 2020. Finger guns.
No, I was meaning that like they're not going to say this year. It's like it's coming out next year. So they've got more time to work on it, but I'm just wondering what the crunch is like on this project already.
Well, this is what I was talking about. This is one of the things. The other thing I sort of jumped out at me, which is the difference between Joplin and Morrison. So Joplin was the original one, and it sounded like Mark Darrah and Mike Laidlaw and whoever else was running, because it was a small team working on Joplin, because obviously BioWare had 2 other games like to make before Dragon Age was the priority. But it sounded like they were actually like not making it in the way that they made Inquisition and Andromeda and Anthem, in that they were setting goals and they were prototyping really early, and they didn't have too many people, so they weren't like having to find work for people, and they were making decisions, which I think was the key one. They were making decisions. Like if you think about if Dragon Age 4 came out in 2021, like say 2 years from now, and Morrison's been in development since last year, like 3 years development. They are already further ahead on Joplin than they were on Anthem. Because they already had the setting, what you were going to do. By the way, that Joplin sounds fucking awesome. Setting the thing.
High space one based from the Treventu Imperium. Yeah. I was like, it's basically you're breaking the like various what it sounds like either various mage towers and stuff, or the black divine, like the other pope.
Yeah, that sounded great. What's crazy is this little tiny team in BioWare working on the next Dragon Age was further ahead in development than Anthem.
Yeah.
But it does sound a bit like Morrison is now slowly drifting over to the BioWare magic.
Yeah.
Would probably be the best way to describe it. And I worry that they're going to do it again.
Here's a question for you. We'll probably come back there. How many times will the BioWare magic fail before it kills the studio?
I think Dragon Age might be it.
Yeah. I've said this before, because EA is not going to give them an infinite amount of money if they keep failing to reach their expectations.
But I was playing this is a bit of a tangent, but bear with me. I've been playing Dangerous Driving recently, which is it's like a new Burnout, basically. It's like a spiritual successor to Burnout. And obviously in the process of playing it, thinking about it, and writing a video for it, I was like, what the fuck happened to Criterion? Because they were the original makers of Burnout, and then a bunch of people left, founded Three Fields Entertainment a couple of years ago, and now they've made Dangerous Driving. And then I looked it up, and I was like, fuck, Criterion basically, they made I can't remember what the last game they made was years ago. It was a Need for Speed game, I think. The things that they've done recently is they made the vehicles in Battlefront, and they assisted with the development of Battlefield 5. That was a big studio back in the day, in its heyday with like the Burnout series. I feel like in 5 years or 10 years, if Dragon Age 4 goes the same way that Anthem and Andromeda have gone, I'm going to be sitting playing this cool RPG by Mike Laidlaw, let's say.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be like, what the fuck happened to BioWare? And I'll look it up, and it'll be like, oh, they assisted on the development of some game of the year.
Some loot shooter.
Yeah. Like some, I don't know, fucking whatever.
Division 3.
I was going to say Star Wars game, but then I was like, no, EA probably won't be making Star Wars games in 5 to 10 years. When they inevitably try to turn Apex Legends into a loot shooter, like spin-off. and BioWare will assist them in the development of, like, I don't know, motion capture or something. It's fucking depressing to talk about, but like, I hope that they don't fuck it up. But what we've learned in the past few months, weeks, yeah. I mean, we've been talking about this for years. Before Andromeda came out, we were like, this person's left, this person just left, that person's left, that person's left. Like,
yeah. And
in the Anthem article last week, they like, Jason was saying, like, we know about Mike Laidlaw leaving because he's a big name. So you know when Mike Laidlaw leaves because he's like the creative director of Dragon Age. But like tons of veterans who worked on all of the Dragon Ages were still there right up until they were like, Anthem just broke them and they were gone. There's tons of people who work on Dragon Age who've left. The only person who's named that's still there is Mark Darrah.
Yeah.
He was the one who basically... That's the only silver lining here. He was the one who basically, as we talked about last week, kind of came in and just started grabbing people's heads and just bashing them together and going, right, we need to make a decision about this on Anthem. So, I don't know. I mean, the Inquisition art director's the creative director, so at least it's someone who worked on Inquisition who's running the charge.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to know they'll have like continuity of art design, I suppose, because the Dragon Age does have a distinct look.
It definitely does. There's a lot of distinct things about Dragon Age, and I worry that they've lost too much for it to have that kind of continuity. It'll be like the difference between watching The Empire Strikes Back and The Force Awakens. They're both definitely Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
But they're very different.
Very, very different.
And you can tell. And there's nothing wrong with either film. I like both. But, I don't know. Do you want to talk about something really, really creepy and weird now? I don't know why I ask. Of course you do. Activision Blizzard monitors how its employees' pregnancies are going. So this is from Joshua Rivera over at Kotaku, who writes, a story published by the Washington Post Tuesday night revealed that game publisher Activision Blizzard has been offering third-party fertility and pregnancy tracking services to its employees. Oh, that's nice. That's really cool. And then receiving their anonymized data back in return. Oh, no. Ovia Health offers a suite of wellness apps for family planning, allowing users to input their personal information to keep track of their efforts to conceive and maintain a healthy pregnancy, and for documenting a child's health once they're born. According to the Post, Ovia also provides employers who pay for it access to anonymized aggregate data that tells them much of what their employees put into their Ovia apps, quote, from their trying to conceive months to early motherhood. The company claims it complies with privacy laws, and Activision Blizzard also reportedly places strict controls on who can view the data. The story quotes Milt Ezard, Activision Blizzard's vice president of global benefits, as saying that Ovia was instrumental in shifting employee sentiment towards apps that ask for personal information. Prepare to vomit. Quote, each time we introduced something, there was a bit of an outcry. You're prying into our lives, Ezard told the Post, later noting that employees' attitudes have shifted. Have improved since Ovia was first offered in 2014. Eventually, people understood it's all voluntary. There's no gun to your head, and we're going to reward you if you choose to do it. The company reportedly offers employees a $1 gift card for each day the app is used, but didn't otherwise disclose how the anonymized data is used. Despite its assurances of privacy, there is concern that data could still be attributed to individual employees in instances like this from clues derived from real-life interactions, and privacy experts caution that the data harvested from wellness apps could lead to insurance companies using that data to deny coverage or increase premiums. So that was a Kotaku article. Again, I did the same thing where I found a summary. I did read the Washington Post article. They let you read a certain number of articles for free every month, and I was like, I'm definitely going to use one of them on this. So here's 2 other quotes that'll make your fucking skin crawl. This one's from Milt Ezard. I want them to have a healthy baby because it's great for our business experience, rather than having a baby who's in the neonatal ICU, where she's not able to focus much on work. And then here's another one, quote, the fact that women's pregnancies are being tracked that closely by employers is very disturbing, said Deborah C. Peel, a psychiatrist and founder of the Texas nonprofit Patient Privacy Rights. There's so much discrimination against mothers and families in the workplace, and they can't trust their employer to have their best interests at heart, especially not if your employer is Activision Blizzard. Okay, so one, I need to preface, before we have any discussion about this, Keith and I live in the United Kingdom. We don't know much about the American healthcare system. And every time we read about it, hear about it, or interact with it in any way, I don't know about you, but I just come across with this is fucking bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, when I discovered that mothers are charged to hold their baby after they give birth, I was kind of like, how can this seem normal to people? Because let's face it, the American healthcare system is radically different to most healthcare systems. I mean, they have most of the American population have access to medical care, not all of them. But it's very difficult to for me to think of a first world country, other than America, which has a system like it.
There's a reason. It's fucking barbaric at times. They're talking about, in the original Washington Post article, they're talking about, $1 million births. And I'm like, what? I don't understand it, because, again, I'm from the UK, where I pay some national insurance if I'm employed, and I work or I earn over a certain threshold, and it's all kind of taken care for me. I don't have to worry about, if I go to the hospital, I mean, I obviously use medical services quite a bit. I'm transitioning, but, it doesn't cost me extra because I'm using the health service. It costs me the same amount. Again, it depends on how much I'm earning, right? If I earn more money, I'll pay more in. If I lose my job, I won't pay anything in, but I'll still be able to use the health service.
Yeah, it is the thing where if we walk hospital and we've cut off our fingers in a DIY accident, we don't get asked how many fingers do we want reattached, because our insurance doesn't cover all of them being reattached. Yeah. There are a lot of horror stories about the American health industry. However, this isn't the medical side of you.
This isn't the health industry. This is Activision Blizzard.
This is insurance.
This is creepy as fuck.
I mean, my initial reaction to this on Twitter when you posted it was WTLF.
I mean, it's a phrase you coined on this podcast. What the literal fuck? We're getting some great use out of that, which probably isn't a good thing. It's fucking mental. I get them. It's the part where they get the data back that is really creepy and really concerning. A company offering benefits like this is nothing really new. In my place of employment, I get certain benefits, I get free eye care vouchers and stuff like that. But it's the part where they get the info back, and because it's not like Fitbit, where
No.
everyone in the company is using it.
Yeah.
All of the women in the company won't be using it. Like,
No.
only certain women who are trying to get pregnant, who are pregnant, or who are on maternity leave will be using this app. So when they're talking about, because it's anonymized data, but
Yeah.
you could
Easy to
probably
figure out.
figure out who's who in this
Yeah.
data.
I mean, it's really also it's like, oh, you're trying to get pregnant. Does that have an impact on whether he gets chosen for promotion?
Yeah.
Are they going to be sitting there going, well, she's in this program, so do we promote her because she might not be there for the full on for the project?
Yeah, but if she gets pregnant, she'll be off on maternity leave in like a year's time. So maybe we should just promote this other person, who will most likely be a white dude, because corporation.
I wasn't going there.
I wasn't until I thought of it, and then I said it.
Yeah. No, it's like I thought you were just going to say dude. I didn't think you were going to say white dude.
Twitter handle is right there. But anyway. Yeah, it's like
Not this one, not at me.
Don't worry about him. He's fine. No, don't. He's over there. I'm gonna try and pat him on the head.
No, no. Yeah, it was the fact that it covered people who were trying to get pregnant as well. I was like, wait, what?
It's a great.
That is incredibly personal information. It's like, oh, so you're trying it. It's like if they get to stay back, it was easy to figure out. It's like, oh, you're banging 3 times a week. What the
fuck?
That is
like,
massively open.
Because you could go, like, let's say Vivian starts using Orvia and starts logging the whole like thing of like, because it's a really useful app for women who are trying to get pregnant, who are postnatal. I think that's what it is, postnatal. When they've had the baby. It's a really great app for that, for like to track things and do things. But let's say like Vivian at the office at Activision Blizzard. Like sits down and is like, oh, me and Dave are gonna try for a baby. Cool. Starts using Orvia to track like all of the cycles and the fertility cycles, so like when to try and get pregnant, stuff like that. And then that data comes back to Milt at Activision Blizzard. I actually used the dude's name. At Activision Blizzard, that someone is trying to get pregnant. And then Milt talks to Vivian.
Yeah.
And Vivian, like mentioned, Milt talks to Susan, who was talking to Vivian. Who Vivian was talking to Susan about, like, oh yeah, we're trying to get pregnant. And then Milt's like, aha. Well, I've got all of your information.
I think you've missed a really easy step here, which is anyone in the payroll department will know who it is, because there'll be a start date for the $1 a day for that person. Oh, this person started using the app, so we have to start giving them like money. So this person, I mean, if you're working in payroll, you're gonna have to you deal with confidential information and everything. But there's still that thing for abuse there, because you know that something's happening in that person's life now. You have a measure of knowledge of that person that you wouldn't otherwise have through general business interaction.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure a lot of women, most women maybe, would not like start trying to have a baby and then just burst through the doors at work the next day.
Yeah.
Just like, guess what, everybody? Like, I mean, if you do, like, cool, you do you. Like, whatever, sister. You do whatever you need to do. But it's fucking creepy. I can't believe this is the thing I read. Like, when you think when you're reading something and you think you're on the Onion.
Yeah.
But then you're not on the Onion. You're at the fucking Washington Post, and this is really happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing of our age. I'm trying to think of an example. It's like our data. We create so much data about ourselves, and there's so little laws about how it's used. I mean, we had that big thing in Britain. If you're not from Britain, you might not know about this, where Facebook was accused of influencing elections in Britain.
Yep.
By selling illegally data about people from the UK, and influencing adverts and stuff based on those data metrics.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
the way that data is used on the internet in general. Like, not even to talk about this. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, do you know how how great it is to see? You can kind of see how it works. Like, there's a really great way. Just transition. Because all of a sudden, you can tell how your data is being transmitted over the internet. Because all of a sudden, you know when you go on one of those websites where you want to watch, say, I don't know, a TV show, and there's a lot of ads that you click on, and they come up. And it's
Web comics are great for that.
Yeah, so it's like,
Because
click.
you know what was really... Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, like, click, porn. Great. Yeah. I didn't need that. Close that down. And then there was a very sudden shift where it was like, I'll click dresses. I was like, the fuck? This is new.
Oh, what was really weird for me was after you like transitioned was that the ads that started appearing on Twitter and the recommended groups all changed remarkably quickly. Right. All of it was LGBT and transitioning groups. Some of them were like help groups and stuff. Others were just like general social groups. I'm sitting here like,
wait, hold on.
Yeah.
So yours stuff changed as well?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
All I can think of is because you've logged on to several social media sites as yourself from my computer.
But I've not. Like, I've never logged on to Twitter or Facebook on your PC.
You've logged into Google and stuff a few times.
I've been on your network on my phone.
Yeah, you do that a lot, but you've actually logged in, logged me out of Google and logged in as yourself a couple of times.
The last time I did that was a long time ago.
Yeah. So it tells you a lot about how the data's used, doesn't it?
Yeah, actually, I was like, so how does that... Oh, wait. So all that shit must still be in your computer. So because I've obviously flipped everything over on YouTube, it was super easy. Fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the other stuff that everybody knows about. Like, I bought my first bra, and all of a sudden, everything was bra.
Yeah.
I remember watching. I remember when I wrote a review when I did movies. I wrote a review of. No, I went on Amazon to buy Grand Piano on DVD. The movie starring Elijah Wood and John Cusack's really good. And then all of a sudden, all my recommendations on Amazon were for like 3,000 grand pianos. And I was like, the fuck?
I mean, sometimes they can get things hilariously wrong, just to continue this tangent, which was the time that Facebook decided I was gay because it noticed I never had a romantic status update. So suddenly I started getting adverts for like gay dating apps, and I'm like, this is what I thought.
That. Yeah, there
was a period I was getting loads of them, and I didn't click on any of them, and then they kind of stopped. So I thought either it was a mess up, or I realised that I never updated the romantic thing, and decided, oh, maybe he's keeping it on the down low. Good oink. And it's like,
down low in your face. What the fuck? Yeah. Sometimes it's creepy how they can, how they can like anticipate. How they can anticipate what you want to look for, like there's this company. It's fucking fantastic. Like I'm really glad I saw the advert for it. But like all of a sudden it was called Snag Tights, and I was like, and it sounds really great. And I was reading the stuff because but I had never like gone to buy or search or do anything like regarding like buying tights. In my head, I was like, I want to buy some. So
but you just got that chip in your head. So.
Unless it extracted it from my brain, which that was a weird one, but it was great because they're really good tights. Activision Blizzard's really creepy though.
It's a weird thing. And looking on the bright side, which I try and do, is I'm kind of hoping it was just some like tech, like the people who made the app and stuff just came up with a hit. Listen, you're a big employer, and probably the few will like do an incentive scheme to get your people using our stuff. And I'm hoping that's what it's based on. And it wasn't that we want to do this so we can figure out what our employees are doing and then make adjustments accordingly. I'm hoping it's just this kind of walked up Activision Blizzard with a pile of money.
Yeah, it probably is. Like, it probably is. There's a lot of examples of tech companies being kind of dense.
Yeah.
And like not thinking things through.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's the one going around Twitter at the moment where they made the hand soap dispenser. You put your hand under it, and it just automatically dispenses soap.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the video where the dude goes, and the white hand goes under it, and it dispenses the soap. And then the black hand goes under, and it doesn't do anything. And then he takes the white paper towel out of the thing and puts it underneath, and it dispenses. And then he puts his hand back, and it doesn't. And it's like, yep, you probably should have tested this on more. It's that kind of thing, you know, like where like the tech companies sometimes don't think. They just think, I've got this really great idea, and then they do it. And then all of the consequences come after that, if you know what I mean. So they've probably gone to this and thought, this is great. We'll get companies giving women our app, which is, again, really good as a thing to actually like use for women who are trying to get pregnant or who are pregnant. But then the flip side comes where it's like, well, to get Activision Blizzard on board, we have to offer them the data, anonymized data. And then it's like, didn't think how A connects to B to make C.
Yeah. It's like, I think, like, because the employee gets paid every day it's been on, it's ridiculously easy to figure out who's who.
Yeah. Even just from talking to people.
Like,
Because of all, like, women, like, I don't know how much of a percentage of the workforce in Activision Blizzard women make up, but whatever that percentage is, the percentage of those women who are trying for a child is a lot smaller than the percentage of women who work there. Anyway, we've got two annoying stories that I grouped together because they kind of talk about the same thing.
Yeah.
They're funny in a this is stupid way. Part 1. Resident Evil 2 $5 DLC unlocks all in-game rewards. I just suddenly heard $5 footlongs in my head, you know. $5. $5 footlongs, $5. $5 footlongs. Bit of Subway product placement for you. There's a new Resident Evil 2 Remake DLC for those who don't want to bother going for unlocks the hard way. The aptly named All In-Game Rewards DLC for Resident Evil 2 Remake is just $5, and it unlocks the extra campaigns for the fourth survivor as well as Tofu. More importantly, the DLC also unlocks all bonus weapons with infinite ammo, bonus costumes, and all model and concept art in the game's gallery. Of course, all these can be unlocked by playing the game, but not all of them are easy or straightforward to get. Hey Keith, remember cheat codes? They were fun, weren't they? Like, oh, I want to make big head mode in GoldenEye. Cheat code. Done. If GoldenEye came out now, like, you want big head mode? Oh, cool, that's like $3 DLC.
Yeah, the last game I actually saw with cheat codes was Blood Rain 2.
Rage 2's got cheat codes. I don't know how they work, but they're advertising them all over Twitch. You can get like different announcers and stuff for, like Danny Dyer. There's a Danny Dyer announcer like cheat code, and there's one for the NBA announcer. You remember the game? He's on fire. Yeah. That one. NBA Jam. Yeah. Yeah, you can get that guy like as you're playing. But anyway, yeah, cheat codes are just DLC now. They are a bitch to get. Like the infinite ammo weapons are fucking. Someone who was on
I saw what I had to do to get all of them, like the infinite knife, the infinite sharp knife, and it's like I have to replay the game with both different characters because there's like one I've missed.
Yeah, the infinite pistol was challenging.
Yeah,
because obviously it's a speed test. It's not like you don't have to be a speedrunner to do it because obviously I did it and I'm not a speedrunner, but you've got to be fast. And that was part 1 anyway. Part 2. Fallout 76 fans are unhappy that Bethesda is adding pay-to-win items. This is from Vicky Blake over at PC Gamer, who writes, Fallout 76 players have hit back at Bethesda for a new repair kit feature that some believe goes against Bethesda's assurances that the game would not include pay-to-win items. Scheduled to release in the weeks following patch 8, there will be 2 types of repair kits available, basic and improved. According to Bethesda, improved repair kits are rare items that Bethesda plan to award you for free as you take on various types of in-game content, while basic repair kits will be unlockable in the Atomic Shop using items you've purchased or those you've earned for free by completing in-game challenges. And therein lies the issue. In a long, detailed thread on Reddit, fans are challenging the decision to have the items available in the Atomic Shop, the same vendor in which all purchasable cosmetic items are housed. They maintain that being able to purchase the ability to repair on the fly will make it easier to survive encounters than players without the funds to buy the kits, and set a worrying precedent. Quote, I don't mind that someone who doesn't have a lot of time to play the game, but can contribute money to help the game development, is able to get some convenience items to make their short playtime more enjoyable, as long as it's reasonable and only a convenience and not a major advantage. What I do have a problem with in the case of repair kits as arms only is that it is a band-aid solution to horrible weapon durability in the game and incentivizes them to keep it in this awful state, and the person who that's quoting from is a Reddit user called Psychedelic Samurai. Great name.
Yeah.
Fantastic name.
God will salute you for that one.
I mean, I wrote a bit of a snarky bullet point. Ah yes, the classic, here's a fix to a problem we created, give us money. A staple of AAA game design. So obviously I bounced from Fallout 76 not long after it came out.
Yeah.
And having been back, once I finished building my house, I was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
But like, weapon durability in that game is bullshit. Weapons break really quickly. Yeah. It's an issue, and Bethesda haven't patched the issue. What they've done is they've gone, hey, here's these repair kits, you buy them with atoms.
Yeah.
In the cosmetic shops, not just cosmetics anymore, in the cosmetic shop, and you can repair all of your weapons with these repair kits. And then they just put a hand out like,
yeah,
money, like, oh, you could just fix it. Like, oh, you could just fix it for the players that still, for some reason, play a Fallout 76. I say for some reason, not to insult them, but because I genuinely don't understand why someone would still be playing Fallout 76. Like, for me, I genuinely don't understand. But you would think Bethesda would be trying to create goodwill at this point. Like, do you know who the biggest Anthem fan in the world is? I can tell you. Who the biggest... Todd Howard. Todd Howard is the biggest Anthem fan in the world. Because when Anthem came out, it took a lot of the heat off Fallout 76. And now Fallout 76 is just like, yeah, no. We still want to do stupid shit like this. Todd Howard's... You know Todd Howard. Bethesda. He was the one that came out and talked about Fallout 76 on stage.
Yeah. I got it after you mentioned who, like, you know, it's like took all the heat off. When you said Todd Howard, I was like...
We've read on the internet that our games are broken.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah, and then they released the game.
And then they released Fallout 76 with guard rays that come out of the ground.
Your problem where the colour would just start leaching from random things as you turned around, it was just a black and white landscape.
Yeah, that was my favourite bug.
Like you're in that Aha video, Take On Me.
I kind of was.
Great song.
Great song.
Wonderful.
Did they not promise not to do this? Yes, they did. They did promise not to do this. Specifically this.
Yeah, it's going to have microtransactions. No, don't worry, they're not going to be
it's just cosmetic.
Yeah, this ain't cosmetic.
Never just cosmetic. This is this first one though. This is them testing the water to see if people will buy it. If people buy this, something else will come out, and then something else will come out, and then something else will come out, because people will buy it. These games that rely on storefronts, microtransactions, loot boxes, etc., they're not made for you and I, and Keith. They're made for people like Russell, who will spend thousands upon thousands of pounds on a game like Star Citizen. Fallout 76 is only designed for those people who spend a shit ton of money buying things. in the microtransaction store. Because they're the ones who are basically paying for the development at this point.
Yeah.
Like, if I went back in to play Fallout 76 right now because I decided I want to build another wing on my house, and I just did that, and I just ignored the cash shop altogether, like, Bethesda don't give a shit whether I'm playing it or not because I won't be interacting with their cash shop.
Yeah.
I wrote this bullet point very, 2 minutes before we went live. Do you know what the scariest part about both of these stories is? Like, they feel quite tame at this point. Like, we've been desensitized to the AAA publishers' bullshit. Because they're piss sticks, right? Like,
I mean, paying to unlock the stuff instead of doing it yourself, that's very much that meme that keeps going around at the moment about doing it yourself.
God, that meme is amazing. The Sekiro meme. I love that.
I think of the XCOM one that I've seen.
Yeah, no, but it was from Sekiro. Do you not know where it came from? All right, topic 6 in the words about Gamescast really quickly because this is fucking amazing. So, someone at PC Gamer, because obviously we did this talk already about Sekiro's difficulty, and someone at PC Gamer was like, wrote an article where it's like, I finished Sekiro's final boss by using cheats. So, like, because it's on PC and modders can get a hold of it and do stuff, there's a cheat or a mod, I guess, where you can slow down the combat, but you still move at the same speed. So you can slow down the enemy's speed so you can parry a lot more effectively, which is what the game is based on. And the writer of the article was having trouble playing the beating the final boss. Like, he was playing it for hours and hours, and then he beat the final boss using the cheat, and he felt okay about it. And then he posted an article on PC Gamer, and one of the responses was a quote tweet that had that in it. And I'm just going to try and find it. What was it again? What was the full thing? Because everybody's been taking the piss out of it now. It's amazing.
You cheated yourself as well.
Hold on. If I just search that, it should come up. It's like the first. You put "you cheated," it's the first thing that comes up. It's become
I went to Google. You cheated not only the game but yourself.
Yeah, you cheated not only the game but yourself. Yeah. You didn't grow. You didn't improve. You took a shortcut and gained nothing. You experienced a hollow victory. Nothing was risked and nothing was gained. It's sad that you don't know the difference. And that tweet has exploded into this glorious meme.
Yeah, the people who do XCOM. What I was just mentioning that. I started typing into Google, and it was, before I even got to see it, was chosen wrongly.
Oh, nice. You cheated, and then it was, you cheated the game.
Yeah.
So, there was the XCOM one.
Yeah.
Literally the official XCOM Twitter thing, where it's like, misses a shot, reloads the game, does the shot, blows the thing up, and then it comes up, and it's the guy who does the voice.
Yeah.
And he actually reads it out. Hello, Commander. You not only cheated the game, you cheated yourself. Like, fuck, this is good. There was a Sonic one where the Sonic the Hedgehog account posted it because, they posted one of the famous, speedrunning glitches where you do a thing and then you go, and you're at the end of the level. And then all of the information that comes up is just the thing, the meme. It's everywhere. I love it so much because what a ridiculous fucking thing to say.
Yeah.
And it's been lampooned. Sometimes the internet does good work. This is one of those times.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just thought I'd tell you where that came from because...
I mean, I'd seen it before the XCOM one, but I hadn't known exactly what it...
I saw it unfold in real time. Because I read the PC Gamer article and I was like, yeah, it's kind of interesting. I kind of wish we had delayed... I kind of wish we had delayed our Sekiro talk until this week because, that happened. Cory Barlog, the guy who directed God of War, came in. Able Gamers jumped in. A bunch of game developers started talking about it. And I was like, damn. If we'd waited a week, we could have had this discussion with all of this. But, yeah. And then, I saw the response. And then I saw everything else that happened. I'm pretty sure Keith's frozen at this point. But I'm just going to keep talking. So, anyway. Keith's gone. So I'm just going to do games out this week by myself and then call it a day. So the games out this week. On April 16th, we've got Final Fantasy X and 10-2 HD Remaster coming to Xbox One and Switch. We've got Dreams coming into paid early access on PS4. We've got Anno 1800 coming to PC. We've got Heaven's Vault coming to PC and PS4. Wait a minute. Am I looking? Yeah, I am looking at the right one. We've got World War Z, not Z, Z, coming to PC, PS4, and Xbox One. We've got My Time at Porsche coming to PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. And we've got Ghost Giant coming to PSVR. On April 18th, Cuphead is coming to Switch. And something called The Padre is coming to PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Never heard of that one. And Katana Zero is coming to PC and Switch. Now, Keith came back momentarily, but he looks like he's frozen again. He's definitely frozen again. Okay, he's gone black. And he's back. Okay, I just finished the podcast while you were frozen, so that's going to do it for episode 154 of the Words About Gamescast. Well, I guess I can say bye, Keith. And you can actually say bye.
Fist bump.
Fist bump.